And then things get tough, and then I have the shiny penny syndrome, and I try and find the next best opportunity, and I'll move to that, and I'll go through that cycle of just learning, getting tough, and moving on to something. And like tried building a clothing brand, I built a customer service company. Um, I've done fitness coaching and personal training. I used to sell fabrics online as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I've done a bit of everything, man. But ultimately, like I realized, whatever I wanted to do, I was always faced up against Facebook ads. I think that was
Mhm.
my biggest obstacle, especially when it comes to making money online. You need to be able to tackle and master advertising, and in particular, my thing was Facebook ads, because I tried drop shipping back in 2018. Um, and like I come from a very humble family. Like everything's a DIY, do it yourself kind of thing.
Mhm.
You don't tend to outsource, which comes with its limitations. So I tried to learn everything myself. Like I spent hours on YouTube. I looked up the longest course possible, 28 hours or something, and just watched through the whole thing, and set up my own dropshipping store. And this is back when everyone was kind of promoting to build a generic store, run some ads. And little did I know at the time, those were like the golden days. And I literally ran ads and gave up when I got no sales or no results. Um, Moved on to other things, etc. And yeah, here I was, like years of trying again, trying different things, and just not really reaching the successes I wanted to. And I
Mhm.
think I had some time to like reflect and really have some personal growth and think about why things weren't working out for me in life. And I think with a level of maturity, I had to like break some of my old limitations that were passed on to me from family and just growing up the way I did, and realize that I needed to commit to something that would get me to my goals, my personal goals. And also I needed help. I needed someone who could guide me there, someone who's already been there. I didn't want to hear advice from people who had not been there anymore. Um, so so yeah, I knew I wanted to get into e-commerce. I didn't know exactly what. I started looking online for Facebook courses. That's where I started, and that's what led me to you, the king of Facebook scaling himself. So I looked at this course, and by that time, everyone goes through their own journeys, and everyone's ready at different times to kind of part with their money. But for me, I was very ready. I just needed to find the right person, and I kind of come across some of your stuff, and like what resonated with me was your kind of journey from nothing to something. And I felt like that was someone I could connect with, and I was happy to part with my money. So yeah, so I jumped on the course, and everything changed from there, man, because I had the commitment and the conviction, and what I was lacking was the guidance.
Mm.
So yeah, for me, like before I signed up to the course, the main thing I wanted to make sure is, am I going to have the coaching, the weekly calls? Like all the education is there online for free. It wasn't so much the education, although I thought I had the education until I joined BBA and I started doing the program, and I was like, shit, I don't know shit. So yeah, so I've finished the program. Like you could even probably see how many hours I spent during the initial. I treated it like a full-time job. Like I sat there every day absorbing the
Mhm.
information, and just started testing products, man. Started testing products, started taking on the ad side, and I was like, this stuff is not as easy as everyone makes out. Like, and if it was, everyone would be fucking millionaires. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So I stumbled across challenges, and I felt like I needed some help still. So I reached out to my cousin, who's very intelligent. He's very methodical in his thinking. And I was like to him, yo, like I've signed up to this course. It's fucking brilliant. I know you're interested in e-commerce. Like, what are you doing with your life right now? Why don't you jump on with me? Let's partner up and make something happen. And he's like, let me have a think about it. Had a think, came back to me, was like, yeah, let's have a look at this course. Jumped on, and from then we just started hitting it together. Spent putting in the hours every day, jumping on the weekly calls, testing product after product, running up my credit card. Um, and yeah, eventually it was November, just gone. End of November as well, literally the last week of November, our seventh product just clicked, man. The product market fit, our offer, our funnel, everything just clicked and took off. We did 5K that week, the last week of November. And then December, we just scaled aggressively until we come across cash flow issues. And we did 45K that month.
Nice.
55K that month. And then January slowed down a little bit because of our cash flow issues, and we did 45K. And now we're coming into February strong. So yeah, that's pretty much brings us up to where we are now.
Nice, man. Thank you for sharing. It's an incredible journey, and it's like, yeah, every entrepreneur, like one way or another, kind of like their journeys are similar, right? It's very rarely like a straight line. It's like, yeah, I'm here and I want to start a business, and you start a business and like suddenly become successful. Maybe it's like one out of 1,000 cases, it happens like that. But most of the cases, it happens similar to what happened in your case, right? You tried one opportunity, it doesn't work, another one, and along the way, you're overcoming all of these challenges. Either it's like limiting beliefs, or the financial constraints, or some other things. And but eventually, if you just stick at it, right? Like, because you've been like still sticking at it, you're still kind of coming back to it and hammering it. And if you do it this way, there's no way that you will not figure it out eventually, right? And the upsides of what you're doing and the journey, because I've been through the whole journey. Like, I know what's ahead for you. It's like, and I know that if you will stick committed to this, right? Yes, first year is like hard, it's like done cash flow, all of those things, like all circles of hell, right? That you have to go through. But then it eventually becomes easier. It becomes better. You accumulate the capital, you accumulate the war chest, you hire some good people, you develop relationships, you have connections everywhere to solve pretty much any problem you have in business. And then, project it like 2-3 years from now, you'll be making life-changing money, right? It's incredible what what it can done. Like, and now combine that whole journey, let's say, 5 years or even 10 years. Say you commit to something for 5-10 years, right? And let's say 5 years of those is struggle, right? Which probably most people won't stomach the pain, right? They would just like, yeah, probably looking for another opportunity, like we all do, like we all did. And so, but once you stick to something and you stick it for like 5-10 years, it's very hard not to do very well. It's very hard. It's like you'd have to try very hard not to do very well, because like, let's say it was e-commerce, like over time you're getting better at like analyzing your numbers, quickly identifying where the issues is. That the landing page? Is that a funnel? Is that the ad that's problem? Is that the product market fit, as you said? Because now you're kind of getting better and better at like identifying the issue, diagnosing the issue, and fixing it. And so over time, that awareness, that understanding just becomes better. And I'm very excited to see what's ahead for you.
Likewise, man. I think like I'm finally committed to something, and it would be stupid to stop now, because I've been through that cycle of learning, like absorbing the information, becoming somewhat competent, and then moving on to something completely brand new and becoming a beginner again. And you just go through that cycle over and over again, and you can't really bring value in any industry without becoming somewhat of an expert of it. And that stuff takes time. You just have to commit and take time and build on it. So that's what we're doing. We've learned, and the thing is, we've kind of had the benefit of having the fast track to the learning, like working with people like Jacobo and Sergey and everyone else in your team. It's incredible, because they just show you the pitfalls and the mistakes not to make. They identify things in your business that it will take you so many years of mistakes to actually learn that. And they kind of give you the blueprint of what to do and when to do it and how to do it. So you just pick up on those things quickly. And it's like I said it in my comment on BBA, man. If you've got two brain cells to rub together, like with the blueprint, like you can't fail. You just have to stick at it, and that's it.
Yeah, awesome, man. So how was the like on the more like a tactical level? Like you mentioned, it was a product selection. You've had some products you've tested, they didn't work as well, but then one product hit. Like
Mm.
now looking back, like do you see any trends, or do you see why that happened, or was it like pure luck why that product worked out?
I think it was a paradigm shift in our mind. Like I think we made the common mistake that everybody does when they start off with product research, which is like, I want to be rich, I want to make loads of money, so I need to find the broadest product that everybody wants. And it's almost like the same mistake everyone makes, because arguably you can make more money by really niching down and narrowing things down and
Mm,
understanding your customer and the problem. So we had like a paradigm shift where we went from looking at like trending products that were broad and appealed to everyone, to looking at particular niche problems. And it's like you like if you wanted to sell a beauty product, I don't know, maybe a cream, you could sell it for 4.99. Now let's narrow that down. You got a beauty cream for women. You can sell that for 9.99. Narrow it down even further. A beauty cream for women above 50.
mm,
Now you can charge 29.99. Narrow it down even further, and the perceived value becomes higher because you're resonating and talking directly to your customer. So it's understanding kind of that it's important to niche down and know who your customer is, know who your customer avatar is and what their problems are, and talking directly to that need. So
man.
it's once we had that paradigm shift, we started problem researching as opposed to product researching.
Nice, man. This is so good. This is I'm so glad you pointed that out, because I mean we even have calls, right? Like in the BBA, like problem research, like specifics, like
Yeah.
not product research, it's a problem research, because it's I mean at the end of the day, if you think about it, like the bigger perspective, you're sitting in your room, you have your laptop in front of you, you're buying some ads on Facebook, right? And then there is like a person on the other side of, I don't know, in the United States, UK, wherever you're selling your products, that person is browsing Facebook, and that person has some problems in their life, in their, maybe in I mean, mostly in life, with their health. They want to look better, and the needs are pretty much always the same. Needs are like evergreen. Everyone wants to look younger. Everyone wants to look more attractive. Like everyone wants to, impress other people, right? How they look, how they feel, how they dress, and so those needs are fundamentally the same. And the only thing that changing over time is just kind of the products themselves, the products evolving, like iPhone has like new version every year, right? They just slightly change it because they know that the fundamental human desires are the same. Just like, yeah, everyone wants a better camera so they can show off to their friends, so they can share it with their grandma, like. And so they just continuously working on the same pains. And all of the big brands, like some of the products, they're not even changing much, they're not even evolving. But it is so fascinating that you mentioned that, because if people just would spend more time understanding who they're selling to, and trying to go like smaller market, and kind of like niching down, I think they would have a lot more success. And I like to do this experiment myself when, let's say, we're talking about some, okay, as you said, women over 45. Like, okay, so if we're talking about like women over like 45, I'm going to Google and how many women over 45, there are in the United States, for instance. And so I'm kind of quickly grasping the the size of the market. And so, and then even if I grab like very small fraction of that market, which is already kind of niche down, and I can go even more niche, then it's a massive market. But my marketing, as you said, your marketing becomes so efficient because you speak in their language. You go on Amazon, you go on other places, you look at the reviews that speak specifically to that avatar, you go to forums, you start to like really understanding who you're selling to. And that is literally, I've been in like in education space for like few years now. And pretty much I've been through many courses. I spent like hundreds of thousands of dollars on courses, and I know my own behavior. And it's like, when it's like, oh, it's like fundamentals, right? Research your customer avatar. Here's like the whole bunch of stuff that you have to do to research that avatar. And I'm like, I'll probably skip it. I'll go into tactics. I'll go into like Facebook has like, oh, it's like, oh, some hacks on Facebook, some hacks on whatever, like very nitty gritty stuff. But that fundamental stuff that goes before that, like really understanding before you even open your ads manager, before you even like start looking for products, really understanding who that product is for, right? Or what problem that product is solving, what pain in the customer's life that product is resolving, so that you can speak in more precise words that speak to that particular demographic. So this
For
this
sure, man. I have credit where credit's due. Like that paradigm shift didn't just happen overnight by ourselves. It was Jacobo's wisdom that actually gave us that paradigm shift. He's one of the coaches in your BBA program. And when we started thinking like that, we was before our concern was what's our total addressable market? Like how big is it? Can we cast our net far and wide and capture as many people as we can? And I think that stems from a place of insecurity because you don't think you're that good, so you think you need to have a wide enough net to capture some customers. But it actually works in opposite. You need to really craft your net to a specific type of fish you're trying to catch, and it's much more effective that way. So when we started thinking that way, we really started to research our customers, like you said, on Amazon, Reddit forums, understanding their pain points and just reading reviews all day long, putting them into spreadsheets, looking at patterns and figuring out who these people are. Because if you're not selling a product that you would buy, it's very difficult to get into your customer's head because you're not them. That is, I'd say, one of the biggest challenges to marketing is getting into the heads of your customers. And unless you look like your customer, which oftentimes you're not, that you have to put in that work to really understand them.
Such a good point. Like it's like when you sell, as you said, when you're selling to women over 40, over women over 50, you're not women over 40 or 50, right? Like, so you have to get that intelligence somewhere. And as we talked about, I think one of the best, one of the one of the best ways to find those insights would be the Amazon reviews, Reddit. I mean, that's from our perspective. I want to ask you on that as well. Like, which places would you search for that, like, kind of for those insights? Niching down, and also like how to talk to that customer in order to sell them the product.
So I'd say forums like Reddit, Facebook groups and comments, Amazon reviews. Amazon reviews is amazing because finding a product on Amazon, it's already got the validation. People want that product, and people tend to just write loads of reviews on Amazon about what they liked about it, what they didn't like about it. And then you just take all those reviews and then you put them into ChatGPT and you conversate with ChatGPT and just try to understand more and more about the customer. So I think those are the three biggest areas where we get into the heads of our customers.
Nice. And yeah, and was, as you mentioned, with ChatGPT, like last year, it became like a lot easier to get all of that information. Once you have some main ideas, some main like prompts, like how to get those insights, it just becomes so much easier. Like we literally have, I mean, when I was starting my business, like 2016, 17, like there was no AI. Like you had to actually, take your fingers and write something.
And
Now,
that's the thing, in your BBA program, you've even got templates for prompts. So like it's literally the blueprint. It couldn't be easier.
Yeah. Oh man. So what's I have a question here from Mohammed. So what are the 5 things that which he did different when he restarted his e-commerce journey? What didn't work for him with previous general store, and what worked now?
I think the biggest difference, I'd have to say, was like a personal shift. It was more going from like a chaotic approach to life and business to one that was more focused. I think I changed in the sense of not wanting to find that new shiny penny. I was ready to commit, And I'd say the biggest change was being humble enough to accept that I needed help and invest in it. Back in 2018, when I started, I actually had far more money in my bank, far more savings, yet I didn't want to part with my money for coaching or training. And I tried a do it yourself approach. When it came round to last year, when I signed up to BBA, I had almost no money, like in terms of excess capital. But I was just committed, and I burnt my bridges. I was like, you know what, this is it. This is my final shot. I know this is what I want to do. I want to make money online. I want to be mobile. Um, I, so I was like, I'm burning my bridges. I'm putting all my money into this, and I'm investing all my time and energy into this. And I just took on board all the advice and recommendations from the coaches. So I think that was a personal shift, was the biggest difference in my approach to what I did. Then all the nitty gritty details is kind of hard to go into, because that comes along with the education within BBA. Kind of is structured and from beginning to end in kind of how you should start and set up your business to all the way to scaling. So there's a lot of detail in there that we couldn't really go over in this call.
So you're mostly using Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook
Yeah.
ads. Yeah.
So what do you like for people maybe like, watching this and people think like, oh, Facebook ads are like competitive or Facebook ads are saturated? Like, what would you say to those people?
So when I started, sorry about my language, I fucking hated Facebook ads. Now I absolutely love them. Like when you get Facebook right, it's literally a money printing machine. Like once you get it right, it's the amount of money that's spent on Facebook. It's one of the best revenues of income for online advertisers. So I'd say it is complicated. It seems It's like anything in life. Until you know it, it seems complicated. And you're not. It's not something that you can learn overnight. It comes with experience as well. You probably have to stumble across mistakes. Even now, even though we've been making money with it, um, even now, like I'll have a call with Sergey, and he will just recognize something. And this happens on every one of my calls with your coaches. They'll just recognize something that's a huge lever in our business, that after they say it, it seems so obvious and it's so
Mm,
frustrating. It's like, why didn't we see that? And it's so important to like the health of our business, and we'll take on that information and make the change and immediately see results. And that stuff, I've just learned to accept it. Like these guys are ahead in the game. They've been doing it. They have the experience. I'm not supposed to see what they see. If I did, that means they're not that good. So
mm,
unless Kakobo or Sergey stops learning and I
yeah,
carry on learning, I'm never going to catch up to them.
yeah.
Like these guys are obsessed within your team with e-commerce and what they do. So where they continue learning, even though I continue to learn, it's going to be impossible for me to catch up unless they stop. So like you
Mhm.
don't get that without the hindsight. So I'd say just take the time and be comfortable with being a beginner, and just like give yourself the time, to see the results.
Man, this is fascinating. Like the kind of when you opened your mind, right? And I mean, applicable to anything, right? Like when you opened your mind that, you know, yeah, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe I'm kind of, maybe I need help, right? And being like vulnerable and being like open minded. I think this is one of the biggest. This is literally what differentiates. There are some people that they might be like in their 50s and their 70s, and they struggled with specific things all their life, but they still believe like that this is that they know they're right. It's like, I know this, and it's like, there's this kind of people, like very stubborn people. So I mean, sometimes in life, like you have to be stubborn. It's more like when you're starting with something and you keep hammering it. But this is not one of those things. If you're trying something for like, you open like 10 Shopify stores, and none of them had traction, and you keep trying and you're trying and you're trying, then maybe potentially you need help from someone to kind of like guide you and help you out. And it is fascinating that you came to that realization, and here you are. So what is like on the, you mentioned on some of the limiting beliefs and some of the just kind of, just not like even limiting, just beliefs that came from family, like it did for me, like it did for many people, that, for example, you have to do everything by yourself, right? This is, I think this is so widespread, among like entrepreneurs, and that's why I always use this example. Like, you go on the street and you see a restaurant, right? And the restaurant might have the best, like might have like the best food in the world, might have the best like burgers, and then you go along the street and you see McDonald's, right? It doesn't have the best food. It's kind of, it's kind of like low quality food, right? But then they have, tens of thousands of locations. So I don't know, maybe hundreds of thousands of locations at this point. And so, and you realize that, it's about the mindset of the founder, right? And founder, like at some point, realized that I need to bring some other people, right? I need to find what my most important activities are, what my weaknesses are, hire for those, right? In order to grow themselves out of that role, versus the someone who created like a restaurant, like a small restaurant, and still has a small restaurant, is doing everything by themselves. They're probably doing their accounting, they're probably cooking food, they're probably, sitting on a cash register. They're doing everything by themselves because they might have had experience with hiring, and maybe it didn't work out as well. Like, for almost all of us, all entrepreneurs that are starting out, like, our first hiring decisions probably won't be the best. And you just realize that there's this gap between, this people. So how was that kind of like learning experience for you? At what point you realize that you need help and you need to bring someone to help you out, like your partner?
I think it happened sometime before this venture itself. It was more when I realized, like, you'd know yourself within your team, you always have different personalities and different specialities and types of people. Some people are just have general knowledge. Some people are specialists. Some people are completer finishers, and you just have these different roles within teams. And understanding like your style and what role you play, and then needing to find the rest to complement that. I think that's a key skill for any entrepreneur. And I think this is where I struggled in most of my ventures beforehand, because I didn't, I knew what my strengths were and I knew what my weaknesses were, but I just thought I had to strengthen my weaknesses. And I tried extremely hard to strengthen all my weaknesses. And I invested too much time and energy within those businesses and ventures, focusing on my weaknesses and trying to make them to come to a decent standard to be able to even have a chance at competing. Whereas I was competing in industries and markets where there are people within the team that are experts in every field. So when I realized that I would be far better focusing on my strengths, and I just needed to find other strengths that complemented my weaknesses, I became hyper focused on networking and building strong connections that complemented my weaknesses. So when I started this program, I had to make the commitment, because we're out here alone trying to make it, and I knew I was going to find a way one way or another, with or without other people. But I knew that would be a key element to my success. So I reached out to a few people, and it was my cousin who came back with the yes, and I'm glad it was, because he's been the best man for it. We share so much in terms of our like bigger family goals and things. So I couldn't have asked for a better partner to come into it. But yeah, I kind of realized you you need to have strengths to complement your weaknesses to be able to compete in any competitive industry. And I just wanted to follow up on Mohammed's question, just for clarification. We don't test general stores. We test single product stores only. Um, and when I say committed, it was kind of more the conviction to tackle drop shipping. So I wasn't going to give up after the first, second, third, fourth, fifth product. I was going to keep testing until I found that product market fit. So I hope that clarifies that.
Thank you. So how did you know you're like, it's I think it's a process, and it's I mean I've interviewed so many people, and it's like, what kind of was a pivotal point, entrepreneurs going from 100K a month to our client Marek, it's like 6 million, 9 million a month, right? other clients like going, like 7 figures and more per month. And I'm like, what was the secret, or what was the most important element in that success? And so many of them actually say self-awareness, right? And really understanding like that, as entrepreneur, like when you starting the business, it's like, I mean, obviously you have to do many things by yourself. Maybe you don't have like a lot of capital. I mean, most people don't. You don't have a lot of capital. You have to learn a lot of different skills. You have to learn how things are interconnected with each other. So there's a lot of, very hands-on manual stuff. But as you grow the business, maybe you have some money. Like, even if you don't have like a lot of money, I mean, you can outsource some lower value tasks to some other people, so then you have more room to think. Like, so for example, as you said, in your particular example, if you outsource everything else, right? If you, let's say your strength is marketing, and you outsource everything else besides marketing, so that most of your time is spent on marketing, that will have a tremendous impact on your business. Like, we have a client in ESS right now, Topi. He's from Finland. He's doing about like 600K a month. I think this month he'll cross a million a month. And he's very good with like copy, like VSLs and stuff like that. And so he was doing that, and then he started to be more involved on the operational side. He started to hire people, fire people, like gotten more involved there. And then his results started to drop, because he stopped paying attention to the core thing, to his core strength, which is the copy, VSLs, advertorials, stuff like that. And now he came back to it. We had a conversation. Now he came back to it. Like, he's absolutely crushing it. So I think that, like, understanding, like, any tips on this that you would give to people, like how to understand your strengths and weaknesses, how to really like become more self-aware.
Mine happened through studying a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen
Interesting.
Covey. Yeah, that book really changed my life, as well as a few other books. But I'd have to say that one had a huge impact on me. And I didn't just read it; I literally studied that thing, took my time with it, and within it, there's a lot of self-exploration. So I'd recommend that book. I think just reflecting a lot, reflect on kind of your life, journal, maybe journal. I'm not very good at this myself. Like, I've been trying to practice it, but I think when I have done it, it definitely helps if you journal at the end of your day and reflect on moments where maybe you felt you could have improved or done things better. I don't know. I feel writing things down really gives you some clarity on the situation and makes you think a little bit outside the box. So I think reflecting and journaling can really help you understand kind of why you did things and maybe areas of improvement. And look at people who you kind of aspire to be like, and see what their characteristics are like, what their behaviors are like, how they would have handled a situation that you maybe could have handled better. And you'll quickly identify your weaknesses, but mostly being humble enough to realize that none of us are perfect, and there's always something you can learn from someone else. It doesn't matter if they're younger, it doesn't matter how they come across, if they have less formal education, you always have something to learn from someone. So if you kind of have that open mind, then for sure you'll identify areas of weaknesses and become more self-aware.
Definitely. It's like, I think I mean, my own journey was like, growing the business. I had good like initial success in the first year of business, and after that, I I made some poor hiring decisions. And I after I made poor hiring decisions, I decided, it's like, fuck it, I'll be working like day and night, but I will do it myself, because I don't want to manage other people. I don't want to deal with all of that stuff, and I will just be like doing everything by myself. And so yeah, and so I did, and so for some time, got burned out, um, and it's kind of like I think being like, even like allowing yourself to like, okay, I'm not good at this, I suck at this, right, and I need help. I think this requires, as we talked about, like degree of like vulnerability, and just letting your ego and putting your ego aside, right? Because like most people just like, no, I can do it, like I'll prove that I can do it, right? And then you try this, and then I'll prove that I can do that too, right? And then they're proving like so many different things, and those different things are in different areas of their business. They're trying to figure out 10 different things simultaneously. And once I had that realization, one thing that helped us a lot is probably along the lines so that you had that realization. It's like either paying for a course, paying for the program, paying for mentorship, paying for like even like a consulting call with someone who has the area of expertise that I want to learn. Like for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, like you can have a call with almost anyone. Like maybe five, maybe 10,000, okay, whatever. But like you can get like so many questions answered in that one call that it just would take you like a lot of time to figure out. um and I think that's such a shortcut. I mean, at the end of the day, I was always fascinated. I watched this interview with like Jeff Bezos, and they're like, oh, it's like, the interviewer is asking him, it's like, because Amazon, like, I think their biggest business, or the most profitable at least, is the cloud. It's not actually Amazon. It's not selling like physical products and all of that stuff. It's a cloud. It's what they sell to businesses, like as kind of like a
Oh
B2B
wow.
B2B SaaS.
Okay.
Yeah. Not many people know that. I mean, not everyone knows that. And and so that is their business. And then the lady, like the interviewer, like she's asking him, it's like, oh, so how do you plan to like to get into this, in because Amazon core business was books and retail and stuff like that. And the lady is asking him, like, they did interview, and she's asking him like, how do you plan to, like, it's a totally new area of expertise, it's like you don't know nothing about it, like. And he's like, we're not operating in vacuum, right? We're literally bringing the best experts. We're literally bringing the best consultants. We're bringing the best talent, the best information possible to shortcut that learning curve in order to get into like a new industry or new niche or whatever. And you think about it, like, they're not stupid, right? They, yes, we're smart people. We'll figure it out. We sold fucking books. Now we'll figure out how to sell like, B2B software. Let's figure it out. No fucking way. They bring the best resources, they find the best resources, the best people, they pay for them, they shortcut that learning curve by fucking years. And I think people just trying to do too much by themselves. And
Do you know, it's interesting, like two things is I commend you for the team you've built. And it's funny you saying that you was really shit at hiring. And that goes to prove like you have to make mistakes to learn. And the trouble is some mistakes are too costly. And if you can learn from someone who's already made those mistakes, you're already at an advantage. So you have to think about your return on investment. Like if if say to speak to a consultant it costs 2K a month, if they could make you 4K a month, it's a no-brainer. It pays for themselves. It's just you need to have the confidence in yourself and them that you will execute what they say and make that 4K a month. So I definitely think once I had that realization, and I only had that after wasting years of my life going around in circles, that I was
mm,
like, it's silly. Like I need the help, and it's why not get help from someone who's already achieved exactly what I want to achieve. That way they can point out the pitfalls and the mistakes that they've made and help me to avoid them. Sure, I'll make mistakes of my own, but the costliest ones I can avoid. So it's already been a huge return on my investment, and it's a no-brainer when you think of it that way. I basically paid nothing for the course.
And it's and it happens on every level, right? Like, so let's say you grow your business, you go to like 100K months, you go to like million a months, whatever. On every level, you know us entrepreneurs, we're like, because there's so many decisions, there's pressure that it's like, let's say, as you grow the team, then you have the overhead, right? You have to pay the salaries, you have your fixed costs, you invest in inventory, right? There's could be hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars worth of the inventory that just and you have to sell it, right? And it's like there's a pressure that adds up over time, and under that pressure sometimes we're making poor decisions, right? And like, for example, let's say I hear this all the time. We have these calls like in our community, and entrepreneurs come, like some successful entrepreneurs, like already doing like million a month, million even more, and they're like, oh, I want to start this like new store. And I'm like, okay, why you wouldn't want to start like a new store? It's like, oh, it's like a new niche, I want to start it. Like, okay, so you have a store that's currently doing like million a month, right? And you want to start a new one where you would have to figure out everything from scratch. You'd have to learn like a new niche, right? Like you'd have to like season your pixel, get your product dialed in, buy the inventory, buy the fulfillment. It's like, so it happens on every level that that we are like, could be like a bad mood. Maybe we didn't have enough sleep. Maybe it's like, whatever reasons, could be personal reasons, could be business reasons, and we just like change direction, right? And the same as it's the same as you mentioned when you're changing business opportunities and you're jumping from one thing to another. It's pretty much the same, right? So it happens on every level, and I think having someone by your side, either being part of the community, either being part of like the small mastermind that you organize with other people that are like-minded, whatever that circle of support is. But let's say when you're facing like a major decision, like you have someone to bounce ideas off, and they can call you out, like if your ideas simply are not very wise. I think that is a tremendous like value add, in order to because as you said, some mistakes can be costly, can set you off like for months or even years.
This is it. Like they say, you're the average of the five people you spend most of your time with. And if you're not around the kind of people you aspire to be like, then you're gonna struggle a lot, because you either are bringing up that average yourself, or bringing down the average. So it's important to surround yourself with the right people who are on the same path. And the way I used to do that was with books of people that I aspired to be like. Whilst I had no other company that was better than that, I just absorbed their thoughts and wisdom through their books. And then when I started the e-commerce journey, I was like, I needed to be around people who have achieved what I want to achieve, and just absorb that. So for sure, it's definitely important.
Awesome, my man. So I had one question. How is life in Mexico? Do you like it?
I like it. I like it. I haven't seen a lot of Mexico. I've been in Playa del Carmen since I arrived, like just under 3 weeks ago. Most of my time, it, I like it. It's very nice. The beaches are beautiful. The people are beautiful. The food is good. It's so busy. It's like it's a party Monday to Sunday,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, it's very distracting, man. If you're trying to get work done, and like focus on scaling your business, it's very distracting. So I think I need to leave Playa del Carmen and go somewhere a little bit more remote. But other than that, if that's what you're looking for, it's definitely a nice place to come to.
Nice. So when did you move there?
So 3 weeks ago.
Oh, wow, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice. So you,
We're
you want
gonna
to
be
stay
here.
there for some time?
We're gonna be here for 3 months at least. And then my plan is to move to Southeast Asia. I'll go back to UK for summer. I avoid winters in the UK, and then gonna go to Southeast Asia next winter, and just travel around, man. I can now that I'm making money online. I can, because last year I was in Africa, in East Africa, and I was doing my fitness stuff there, and I was spending my savings, because to live with the comforts we're used to in the West, like you spend your pounds and your dollars, right? And I was spending pounds and I was earning in shillings, and I was like, this is no way, man. This is not going to last. I need to be earning in pounds and spending in shillings. And it's when I came back from Africa, I was like, I need to make money online. Like I have to just make it happen. Um, so
Nice.
yeah, man.
Someone recommended had Medellin, it's in Colombia, I think.
Oh, head Medellin. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Colombia, yeah, definitely. I've heard good things. That's yeah, for sure. Jacobo's recommended that as well. It would definitely be somewhere I want to go a bit more.
I think it's kind of similar. It's a lot of parties, or maybe I think it's a lot of parties as well. But a lot of e-commerce people, so many e-commerce people in Colombia, because it's very
Okay,
close to, yeah, it's very close to United States. Like to Miami, it's like I think 2 3 hours flight,
okay.
and then you have, you know, the prices are very like reasonable. I think
You're in
food.
Miami, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
Mm. How'd you
Yeah.
like it there?
We love it here. It's also getting busier, you know, with a lot of people coming in, but it's fun. It's very good energy, you know. It's like
How'd
very.
you stay focused, man?
I just go to work and I go home, and I just go to work and I go to gym and I go home, and then we travel with family like 10 times a year we travel.
Okay,
But pretty staying focused. I don't go to any like I don't go to like restaurants, you know, stuff like that. I only go when there's like
a birthday or something.
very serious occasions. There's some good people,
Yeah.
but other than that, I'm just trying to stay away from that. It's, yeah, definitely distracting.
For sure, for sure. That's like me back at home. So that's why I'm struggling a bit here. I think I need to live somewhere where there isn't a lot going on because I'm happy just doing that, going gym, going to work, coming back home, and then be able to just travel the rest of the time. So I need to reevaluate where I am right now, but it's good.
You're thinking Bali or like Bangkok?
Yeah, I wanna try Philippines and Thailand and Bali. Yeah, I wanna try all of those. I've
Uh-huh.
not been to that side of the world yet. So yeah, man.
Nice, nice. And then Dubai. Eventually, everyone ends up in Dubai.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
and we all know why as well.
Yeah. Um, Oh man, thank you so much for joining. Let's just answer this one. So, how long did it take you for business to really kick off and then allowed you to travel freely?
Um, so, so I'd been doing e-commerce for 6 months properly with Alex's BBA course. It was on the sixth month, on the last week, that it really kicked off, and we did 5K that month. Um, I wouldn't say that really allowed me to travel freely because I haven't taken a penny out of the business. My goal is not to live off the business just yet. So like I've got other streams of income as well that allowed me to travel before e-commerce and invest into e-commerce. They're very humble, not a lot, but I try and live frugally, and I kind of travel to places where living expenses are cheaper than home because home is London and it's not cheap there. So, but now, if we wanted to, we could travel freely with the revenue we're doing, and it's been just under 3 months. So, if you can scale good enough and you get your cash flow right, and you're comfortable traveling with that element of risk because things change on a day-to-day basis, and you need to have money in the business to be able to react to it. Yeah, we're under 3 months in, and we could potentially take money out of the business, but wouldn't advise it.
Man, this is smart. This is smart. Don't take money out of business too fast, right?
Yeah.
Just let it, you know, let it multiply, right? Like let it flourish. And Sufyan says he's inspiring. It's inspiring. It's really inspiring, you know, because it's like, you know, knowing all of the things that you've been through, like different opportunities, like you just stuck to it and like keep hammering, and now it's like promising. Right now, it gives you even more motivation to keep pushing because you already tasted the success, you know. And
That's it.
so, all right, let me see if we can answer maybe some questions here from Instagram, and then we will be wrapping up.
The book is called Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, by the way, for the question there.
Mm-hmm. Seven Habits, Stephen Covey, right? Or
Yeah, that's the one.
All right. You see here. Questions. No one has questions. I mean, everyone knows everything. Happy people, you know. You know what I've noticed is like, you know, it was the programs that we're on. Like, it's usually people that are like that are asking the most that are asking the most questions, but also that are like once they got the answer, they come back and they execute, right? And so yeah, they come back and execute, and then they come for another piece of information, another feedback loop. Hi,
Mm.
Robin. Congrats. First, considering phase three product research in the course, what can you say or add about how did you do your find your actual product? Thanks. Thank you, Julian.
So,
Great question.
so yeah, we followed that program, that section of the program, and we narrowed our product research down to eight, and I should say problem research to eight problems, and we tried to identify all were potential good problems to solve. We just wanted to see what was already being solved and how we could improve on it, and then also kind of a product that resonated with us a bit better, that we would understand a bit more. Because like I said, I think it's very important you get into your customers' heads. So once we narrowed it down to eight, we then dug deeper into who the customers were and how we could kind of solve that problem slightly better. And yeah, then we chose the one that resonated with us most, and we went with it after doing more sort of customer research, product research, finding the best variant of that product, and yeah.
What are any advice on margins? Like, so when you choose products, like what kind of margins you aiming for?
So we always stuck to your 3x. So we always try to start, especially with testing, like it has to meet that requirement because there's just so many things with fees, VAT, this and that, advertising costs. So we always stuck with the 3x, and we recently dropped. After validating the product, we recently dropped our price, and it just skyrocketed our conversion, and it's just doing great. So
Nice.
yeah, so it's important when you're testing, I think, to make sure you can achieve that 3x because there are a lot of expenses when it comes to testing a product in terms of testing creatives and that. So you really want to have that 3x margin on your product cost.
Awesome. So three acts just for people listening. It's, let's say if the product costs, if the product costs to source, let's say $3, just for illustration purposes, you would sell it for at least $9. Or if the product costs like $30 to source with shipping included, because sometimes shipping can cost even more than the product, then you would sell it for at least $90 in order for you to have sufficient margin to still advertise and pay all of the operational expenses of the business. And if you think about like most of the products, like even iPhone, right? Like what margins they have on iPhone, it's like I think it's like 80% or something, 80 and 90%. Like they, you
And I
know.
just wanted to add to that, Alex, when I was starting and testing product after product after product, I just thought it was so unreasonable to 3x your product price. And I was looking at competitors just 2xing, and I was like, why can't we just 2x? Like, no one's going to buy it at this price. This is why all the tests are failing. But it's not true. We just didn't find the product market fit and provide the right offer. If you can convince a customer that you're solving their problem and the likelihood of them achieving the results is high, and you can get it to them quickly. And when I say quickly, I don't mean times of delivery. I mean the time of them achieving the result they desire. If you can meet those requirements in terms of putting your offer together, people pay more than 3x your product. So just bear that in mind when you are starting off and it's frustrating and your tests are failing. You tend to always go to let me reduce the price, but it's really not the way. You need to improve your marketing and your offer.
Such a good point. And for that, obviously I recommend the Alex Hermosi book. It's a great framework.
100 million offers.
Yeah, yeah. $100 million offers. It's great. There's some great examples here. on how to create these offers, how to increase the perceived value of the offer. So yeah, highly recommend this book, and very very actionable too. Very actionable. It's
Incredible.
yeah. So for anyone, you just get a book either like audio format or get yourself like a physical copy. And it's I mean, at the end of the day, as you said, it's like sometimes you can have like a product and there is just a product, right? And everyone sells the same product and they all look the same, right? And all of the competitors, and you go to Google and everyone sells the same product. Go to Facebook, everyone sells the same product. But let's say you bundle that product with some information products, you bundle that product with maybe some extra accessories, you give some stronger guarantee on that product, you give a bigger promise on the product. Now, like, you just by doing that, you can take your conversion from like 3% to 4 or 5%, right? And then just absolutely changes everything on the advertising side, right? Because now you just advertise more profitably, you can scale more, you can scale your ads faster, and everything changes. So definitely, and that on top of what we just talked about, which is just dialing in that avatar that you're going after, like really understanding who those people are, going to Amazon reviews, going to Reddit reviews, going to Facebook comments. I mean, we get so many insights from our Facebook comments, because I like to even personally go through like Facebook comments and see what people are saying, because sometimes you're making some claims on your ads, or you're making claims on your products, and people are like, this is not believable, right? So now we readjust the claims, we explain more what that means, and now people believe it more. Or people asking some questions like, does it work for me if I'm X, Y, and Z? Will it work for me if I don't know, I'm like 150 years old? It's like I live in like on the moon, right? And so now it's like, if those questions are reasonable, we add those questions to frequently asked questions section on the website or on the funnel. So now we basically handling that objection before it even happens. And so just by doing this consistently, if you really like just trying to understand that other person on the other side of the screen that is trying to solve their problem, and just scrolling Facebook, and now you stop them. Like, imagine the behavior of that person, someone going through their news feed, right, watching their like cats, watching the friends and family photos, and they clicking on your ad, right? So someone on the website, you literally have that person attention like enough for them to actually click on your website to watch the video, or see the photo, and it's like, click on your website. That's already commitment, right? They're already interested.
That's huge. It's huge. I remember my friend saying to me, I cannot believe you're stopping people going about their day to day
Yeah,
on social media, ripping them off social media, taking their attention, and then making them give you money. Like, that's
this is insane if you think about it, right? And
it's
you're
not
doing
supposed
that.
to be easy.
Yeah. and you're doing that from sitting like in Mexico, right? And you're
Mm.
doing that for customers all over the world. How insane that is. How insane, right? Like, project like 20 years ago, like 30 years ago. It's like you would tell that this is possible, people would tell you're full of shit,
For
right?
sure. For sure.
Um, my
Even
man.
now, they struggle to believe it, you know?
Yeah, right. But I think seizing the opportunity and seeing it in those terms, where we can impact like hundreds of thousands of people with our product, millions of people with our product, and all of that is super scalable, right? Like using tools like Facebook and other advertising platforms. So
I
um,
think it's something you said as well before. It's like it's not your job to sell your customers products. Like, it's your job to educate them on how you're going to solve a problem for them, and how you are a solution to improve their life. That is really your job. And if you do that well enough, then they'll part with their money and you'll make their life better. If you don't, you're not going to build a brand. And this is why I liked your approach resonate, because it's not just about making a quick buck. It's actually about building a brand, and to build a brand, you need to bring value.
yeah, For sure, my man. So thank you so much for joining me. Every time when we have these interviews, we kind of make a deal. Like, next time we have an interview when you hit 100K a month. So next time we book
Okay.
an interview, and
Okay.
so yeah, very inspiring story you have, and I'm super excited to see what's next for you. I mean, mindset wise, because mindset is foundation for everything. You have the right mindset to succeed on the highest level, and by being open minded, by being vulnerable, by recognizing where you don't know something and asking for help. I think those are the core principles and core values that make entrepreneurs successful. So looking forward to your next breakthroughs and next benchmarks achieved.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate everything you've done for us. And yeah, it's been a pleasure, man.
Yeah, thank you, Robin.
See you at
Yeah,
100K.
thank you. Yeah, let's fucking go.
Let's do it.
Yeah, thank you everyone for watching.